you're very curious about your homework for the weekend, and I'm sure you're excited to get started. So let's talk about our big weekend video project, making a recap. I'm sure you're all sitting at your desks wondering, what's a recap? And why do I have to do this? Well, I'm so glad you asked. To begin with, a recap is short for recapitulate. Recapitulate. It's 5. It's a very long word. We don't normally use it in English. So, recap is fine. A recap is a quick spoken summary where you state the most important ideas. But you do it mostly with speaking. So means we do it again. So you are going to tell me in a very quick video a summary of the most important things we did this week in class. Okay, that makes sense, right? But why should the Level E students care? Well, recaps really are a great way to share the main ideas of what you're reading, what you're listening to, maybe what you're even thinking about with other people. And in credit classes, you're going to need to have this skill where you summarize ideas, but you do so concisely. Concisely, Maggie. That's another big word. Concisely. It means a way that is short, but gives all the important information. All right. So let's get to your homework task. So what I want you to do this weekend for your homework is you're going to make a short recap video. Just you. No partners necessary, just film yourself. And so I want in your recap video for you to tell me about 3 things. The first is going to be give a short summary of what you learned about the Oregon coast this week. Just tell me 1 or 2 of the most interesting things you learned that you didn't know before. Number 2, tell what happened with the exploding whale in Florence. Then, give your opinion. Was that a good solution or a bad solution to that problem? And finally, I want you to recap the most important ideas in your podcast. Be sure to tell what podcast you listen to. Now, your recap does need to be concise. So I'm putting a time limit on it. 3 minutes. So you have 3 ideas that you're going to share with me. Only give me the most important points and make sure that you're taking the time to speak clearly. All right, everybody. There's an example recap following this video. Let me know if you have any questions.
Hi guys. I know videos are a little intimidating and they can be confusing sometimes. So to give us an example of what our recap video should look like, I've invited my friend Rhonda to come and tell us a little bit about the Oregon Coast videos, her thoughts on the exploding whale, and of course, she's going to tell us a little bit about the podcast she's currently listening to. Rhonda, why don't you come sit here? Oh, thank you so much for having me. Oh, it's so nice to be here today. So I have come today to tell you about my 3 things. The first thing I learned about this week, I learned about the Oregon coast. And I learned that you can go to the coast at any time because it is all public access and we cannot have private property there. That is my favorite thing. I also like the labyrinth in the Bandon Beach. That man, he does such a nice job with a rake. Yeah. Now my next point I would like to cover is I would like to talk about the exploding whale. And oh my goodness, that was so silly, so silly. But it was not a good idea, in my opinion. It was a terrible idea. But oh my goodness, it was funny. So, not a good idea in practicality, but for the comedy, you can't beat it. And my last thing that I need to discuss, podcast. I have been listening to a podcast called Pop Culture Happy Hour. Pop Culture Happy Hour. And you can find this on the NPR. And the episode that I listened to this week was all about breakups on TV. They talked about the breakups of some friendships. They talked about the breakups of some couples, like Ross and Rachel on Friends. I just don't understand why they couldn't work it out. And so they talked about movies and TV shows and songs. All of those with breakups. And then, of course, they ended the episode by talking about what makes them happy. So, that is my recap of the week. I hope you had a good week too. Thanks for talking.